The UiPath platform supports SAP automation for all your SAP non-visual interfaces. Whether it's RFC, BAPI calls, HTTP requests, working with XML files or JSON files, UiPath can handle it all. The most common type of non-visual SAP interface is the SAP BAPI. For SAP BAPI automation, UiPath has a specific BAPI activity package that RPA developers can use. From a prerequisite perspective, this requires installation of the SAP connector for Microsoft .NET 3.0 and the Microsoft C++ Runtime DLL. Please note that this SAP BAPI activity pack is only compatible with UiPath Windows legacy project types. Now let's go ahead and see this in action. Switching over to UiPath Studio, first we can see that I have a Windows legacy project, and I've brought in the SAP BAPI activity pack. If I go to my activities pane and search for SAP, we'll be able to see this activity pack has two specific activities, the SAP application scope and the invoke SAP BAPI activity. First, the SAP application scope. In order to configure this, simply click the configure button and you can define both a design connection and the connection that you want the robot to use. The design connection allows you to connect from Studio directly to your SAP connection. Simply click Test Connection to ensure that the connection was successful. And the Robot Connection option allows you to pass in specific parameters that you want the robot to use. Now, best practices for robot connections is actually to store all your credentials within UiPath Orchestrator. And for this, if you create your credential asset within Orchestrator first, you can simply drag and drop that into your designer pane and get the credential to feed the important variables over to your robot. Now, the second activity, of course, is the invoke SAP BAPI activity itself. When working with the SAP BAPI wizard, you can simply search for any BAPI that is available in your SAP ecosystem. I'm going to go ahead and use the default BAPI PO create. Once chosen, the wizard will populate with all the mandatory parameters that are needed by this BAPI, denoted by the asterisk here. If I want to add any additional parameters optionally, I can choose to do that with this Add Parameters button. Simply pick and choose the parameters that should be added. You'll notice that the wizard gives you the name, the description, and the data type, as well as whether that parameter is an input or output parameter. Second, in order to assist developers in what information actually needs to be fed to the robot, we have the ability to export all these parameters as an Excel file. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Excel file now. The generated Excel file comes with 3 tabs, one for each of the mandatory parameters that should be fed into our BAPI call. We have our header parameter, our items parameter, and our PO items schedules. If I wanted to manually edit these, I could simply go into the Excel and update the information here. During an automation, I'll likely have my robot update the Excel file to dynamically change the BAPI call. Returning to Studio, we'll see that one of the actions within our BAPI workflow is to actually read the data from the Excel file in order to generate the values for the variables that we're feeding into our BAPI call. To read the data, we have a number of out-of-the-box Excel activities available in our activities pane. We simply need to drag and drop those into the center and pass in the parameters that should be fed into these Excel activities. So, after building out the credentials portion, the read data portion, and configuring our SAP BAPI call, we are now ready to run our workflow. Now, SAP BAPI calls obviously occur in the background, so we actually won't see anything happening on the screen. However, returning to Studio, if we open the output pane, we'll be able to see that the PO number was successfully recorded and created. And that's a quick tutorial on how to use the SAP BAPI activity package within UiPath Studio. Until next time, bye.